Redeemed, rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. What to make of the Martin Luther King Jr. penis statue? And that's right. That's what everyone thinks it is, either a penis or a poop. You guys have heard of the statue embrace. It was big news yesterday. I got to tell you guys, I've lost my zeal for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Not because I have any animosity towards Martin Luther King Jr., not because I don't believe he was a national treasure. I know that he had a history with women. I know that he had some communist leanings in the end, but God still used him, I believe, to bring about magnificent things when it comes to race relations and ending essentially institutionalized racism in America, or at least beginning that process. But here's what I'd have to say about that statue and Martin Luther King Jr. First off, the statue is ugly as hell. I don't know why anyone would pay $10 million to have a statue of Martin Luther King Jr. seemingly hugging a penis. It's absolutely disgusting. They should take it down. All right. My next take is this. My second take is this. Either Martin Luther King Jr. is a hero or he's not, commies. Either he effectively ended institutionalized racism, and if so, he's worthy to be praised, or he did not. If America is systemically racist, as the left claims, then I guess we have to end Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I think the onus is on the left to explain to us why Martin Luther King Jr., who they claim is a hero, I guess isn't a hero. Doesn't make sense, but neither does the left. All right, another topic I want to discuss, and that's this. San Francisco Reparations Committee proposes 5 million buckaroonies on lump sum payment debt forgiveness to qualified Black residents. You heard me right. Gabe, I'm thinking about moving to California just for a short period of time to collect on my 5 million big ones. All right. So $5 million lump sum payment. San Francisco Reparations Committee proposes. Hat tip Daily Wire. A San Francisco Reparations Committee proposed a plan to city officials last month that would pay longtime Black residents of Northern California, metropolitan city, San Francisco, $5 million each, while granting total debt forgiveness for facing decades of systematic repression. Wow. Okay, so now, several things that are really stupid about this. First off, criminals are going to know who to rob. You talk about black on black crime now. Good Lord. Imagine if every Black person gets $5 million. Here's another thing. Here's another reason why that idea is so stupid and over the top. All other ethnicities will feel slighted, and they're going to end up hating or despising the Blacks, who are perhaps some of them their neighbors. They've worked equally just as hard, but they don't get wealth redistribution. And these Blacks, I'd like to know if there's any ties to slavery whatsoever. I obviously there isn't. And quite frankly, I'm sorry, most of the people that live here that are white or other ethnicities came here after the Civil War. Their ancestry, there's only 5 to 6% of Americans that have any connection to slavery whatsoever. So this idea of reparations is absolutely silly to me. Also, what the left does with this, or the San Francisco, this board, also what they do is basically tell Blacks, listen, they reinforce this stereotype. You're a victim, and you're entitled to money regardless of your work ethic, regardless of how lazy you might be. This is insane to me. The San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee, as it's known, submitted the report to the Board of Supervisors just before the new year, which addresses public policies created to subjugate Black residents in the Bay Area city and includes a list of financial compensation, again, including the $5 million lump sum payment. Here's a question for you, you dumb arses. Let me ask you this. Whose policies in San Francisco, this is a really good question, Gabe. Whose policies in San Francisco are subjugating blacks, are oppressing blacks. Don't Democrats run San Francisco? Don't Democrats overwhelmingly run the state of California? So who is it that's oppressing the blacks? Here's what the committee chair, a guy by the name of Eric McDonald, had to say. He said, centuries of harm and destruction of black lives and black bodies and black communities should be met with centuries of repair. He says, if you look at San Francisco, it's very much a tale of two cities. Now, I wonder about the northern African slave trade where white Europeans were subjugated to slavery. I wonder if Eric McDonald is going to talk about that. Here's the two criteria that are required for you to get in on this Ponzi scheme, if you will, this wealth redistribution scheme known as reparations. Again, there are no slaves alive to collect their due money, and the people that are alive are not slaves. And I benefited from people like Martin Luther King, benefited from the civil rights movement, benefited from their ancestors, and now they can go to school, they can go to college and universities and get reparations there. It's absolutely amazing how the left continues with this gravy train. It's climate change, it's healthcare, it's race relations, it's the LGBTQ community. All of these victim groups the left would like to maintain in order to use those victim groups by championing those victim groups for votes. They create victim classes, tell them, we'll protect you. We'll protect the victim classes. All you have to do is give us your vote. And on occasion, we'll give you some reparations money. Or at least this is what's happening in the black community. It's sad. It's sickening. Listen, all the applicants have to be is 18 years of age. They say there's 2 criteria, but this is funny to me because this appears to be 3. The applicants must be at least 18 years of age at the time the city enacts the committee's proposal. Listen, if I have any modicum of common sense, I'm moving out of San Francisco. You can leave behind the poop-stained concrete sidewalks, the urine-infested sidewalks, the homelessness crisis, the needles everywhere. You can, for whatever reason, the real estate there is still extremely high. Take that money as long as you are a solid patriotic American that votes Republican. Take that money and move somewhere else. Leave San Francisco behind. This is insane. There's no way I would stand for this. So the criteria again, or the criteria period, you have to be 18 years of age. I'm sorry. At the time of the proposal, you have to listen to this. Have identified as black or African American. If I am any color that can pass as black or pretend as if I have black in my melon or in my in my body, I'm identifying as a black American. This thing could really get out of control. And also, but you do have to, you have to be identified as black or African American on public documents for at least 10 years. All right. So they try to add more substance to that one. All right. You also have to prove that you were born between 1940 and 1996. So you have to prove that you were born, approximately 75 years after slavery. You see how asinine this crap is. Oh my God. So these people were born after the Civil War era. A lot of these people might be biracial. I wonder how they'll handle that. Here's another requirement. Other requirements from the report include residents that have lived in San Francisco for at least 13 years or personally been incarcerated. So if you've been incarcerated, you can earn a little bit of cheddar here. Or the direct descendant of someone in prison, not the direct descendant of someone from slavery. Oh my God. Oh my God. But a direct descendant, as if that's something to be proud of, Gabe. A direct descendant of someone that was incarcerated. Oh my God. These people in California are idiots. And this is coming to a town near us. This is what the left wants to go everywhere. So if you were incarcerated during the war on drugs, which U.S. President Richard Nixon declared in 1971. They says you might be eligible. The report reads that African Americans with less than the area median income reflecting 97,000 would also receive supplements for at least 250 years. So you can continue to receive supplements well after you're dead and gone for the next, 2.5 centuries. So your descendants can continue to act for a victim class for Democrats 250 years from now. You see how they never, ever want to get over this racism crap because it is an industry for them. They don't want racism to end. That's why they're trying to reinvigorate racism in America. They also say, and I quote, this is what the board says, racial disparities across all metrics have led to a significant racial wealth gap in the city of San Francisco. By elevating income to match AMI, area median income is what that stands for. Black people can better afford housing and achieve a better quality of life. You know how else black people can afford housing and achieve a better conditions or better quality of life? Get a freaking job, work, save your money, and invest. And don't spend tons of money on cars and Nikes trying to look good and impress the Joneses. Put it in your bank account and save or invest. That's how you do it. Don't go into debt or pay off your debt quickly. That's how you make it. All right. Moving on. And by the way, you are listening to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. All right. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever podcasts are found. Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. This will be up on YouTube and Rumble. Guys, I'm asking you, this really does help out the podcast. Just go to youtube.com, subscribe, rumble.com, and subscribe there as well. And you can rate, review the podcast. We would really appreciate it. Follow me on social media, The Carl Jackson Show. And don't forget to support our sponsors, mypillow.com. You can go there, click on the radio listener square, use the promo code Carl. Just spell my name, C-A-R-L. They got towels that are on special right now, a 6-piece towel set for only $39.98. Their towels are the bomb. They actually dry you when you get out of the shower, get out of the bathtub. They actually work. Imagine that. All right, so $39.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com. Click on that radio listener square or give them a call, 1-800-858-0263. And by the way, browse the website. There's plenty of products there on special if you use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L. Also, I want to introduce to you my new sponsors for Patriots.com. For the number 4 Patriots. All right, guys, a food shortage could be coming even in the U.S. I mean, look at the torrential rains that are occurring in the state of California. I'm sure, listen, I don't want to politicize anyone's pain and suffering, but we've gone through hurricanes here. And I got to tell you, it helps to know that you can have peace of mind when you order something like when you have an excess of food around. Many people may not have. So you can you can protect yourself, whether it's drought, inflation, and policies that are being pushed down your throat from the left that are causing the shelves to go empty. You want to have a backup supply of food. That's why survival food is more important than ever. You can create your own stockpile, the best-selling 4 Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food, all right? We're talking good for 25 years, super survival food. That's what it is. It's hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA, giving jobs to over 200 Americans, praise God. Kits they're compact, they're sturdy, they're water-resistant, they stack easily, all right? They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. Meals are ready in less than 20 minutes. All you have to do is add boiling water, simmer, and serve. Right now, if you go to 4patriots.com, use the promo code Carl, you'll get 10% off. You do have to get a buy up to $97 in order to get that 10% off. There's also a 3-month survival kit. All right, so that includes a 3-month survival kit. There's plus you'll get a year-long guarantee plus free shipping on the orders. of over $97. They're called 4 Patriots, the number 4 Patriots, because a portion of every sale is donated to charities who support our veterans and their families. So go to 4patriots.com, use the promo code Carl to get your 10% off. All right. That's 4patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl and start building your stockpile today. CARL, the number 4. All right. The number 4 patriots.com. Okay. Now I want to get to this. The pandemic. There is another pandemic possibly coming. I want to talk to you about this and briefly what's been transpiring at the World Economic Forum in Davos, because these fools are at it again. Can you believe that? Yes, you can. We all can. Okay. Here's the deal. Hat tip, zero hedge. Bill Gates, many others, and of course, the World Health Organization have just simulated another pandemic. That's right. They've simulated another pandemic. Let me ask you this question. Who in their freaking right mind, unless we've experienced a pandemic, which now we have, and, you know, there's some scientists out there that I believe there's legitimate reasons for research and study within a contained facility and not many placed all over the place where you have to study these viruses. All right. But I don't think you should try to create viruses that are super in nature, super viruses, if you will, to see how society or people will react to them. The gain of function research, as we now know it. None of us knew what that was before, but we now know because of what Fauci has done and Rand Paul going at Fauci's neck. Thank God. All right. Obviously, not speaking literally. All right. So it says here, almost 3 years ago to the day, the same people behind Event 201 completed a simulation for a new enterovirus originating near Brazil. Near Brazil? Huh. What's happening in Brazil right now? I'm sure there's no chaos occurring in Brazil right now. The virus has a higher mortality rate than COVID-19 and disproportionately affects children. What? Now, what is Event 201? You guys might not remember this. I found a summary here. Let me search for this summary. I found a summary on this. If you guys aren't familiar with this, they did an experiment before the COVID-19 hit us, and they're doing it again. The same people are doing another pandemic practice, if you will, a simulation. It makes no sense. But again, you're talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. You're talking about the World Health Organization. You're talking about the World Economic Forum. It sounds conspiratorial. John Hopkins Center, they're doing it. Event 201. This is from, who is this from? All right, this is right off their website. Event 201, a global pandemic exercise. That's what it was called. A global pandemic exercise. Oh my God. All right. The John Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic exercise on October 18, 2019. SARS COVID-19. Anyway, it's just weird how some of those numbers are similar. In New York, the exercise illustrated areas where public-private partnerships will be necessary during the response to a severe pandemic in order to diminish large-scale economic and societal consequences. In recent years, the world has seen a growing number of epidemic events amounting to approximately 200 events annually. They say these events are increasing and they are disruptive to health, economies, and society. Managing these events already strains global capacity, even absent a pandemic threat. Experts agree that it is only a matter of time before one of these epidemics becomes global, a pandemic with potentially catastrophic consequences. A severe pandemic, which becomes Event 201, would require reliable cooperation among several industries, national governments, and key international institutions. Can you say we saw that during the lockdowns here in the United States of America? Now, getting back to this policy, or back to this column from Zero Hedge, the next pandemic is coming. So I've just read to you a briefing of Event 201. They were simulating a global pandemic and the response to by all of the elites. That's what you need to know. The John Hopkins Center for Health Security, again, same people, Event 201, in collaboration with the World Health Organization and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, conducted and this is another one, the Catastrophic Contagion Pandemic Exercise, close quote. Again, Catastrophic Contagion Pandemic Exercise on October 23rd. Of 2022. These fools just keep on popping out with these exercise global pandemics at their annual Grand Challenges meeting in Brussels in Belgium. So normal people, when we think of grand challenges, we think of the Super Bowl, we think of the NBA playoffs, right? We think of the World Series, we think of the Olympics. These evil people think of starting global pandemics. They say they want to know how to respond to them, but it seems to me the biggest pandemics now, it seems to me, right? Let's just think of SARS-CoV-2. Obviously, it initially came from China and it spread. It's amazing how these institutions, how these people are fond of China, isn't it? It's amazing. So it really is amazing. All right, so here are some more of the Fauci-like participants, all right? The group of participants included 10 current and former health ministers. Pay attention to those words, health ministers, and senior public health officials. Health ministers, senior public health officials. I'll swing back around to that. I want you to understand why this is important, all right? So these senior health ministers and senior public health officials were from places like Senegal, Rwanda, Nigeria, Angola, Liberia, Singapore, India, and Germany, as well as Bill himself. Bill Gates, such a nice guy. He had to make sure that he was there. Wanted to make sure that everybody is A-OK all around the world. That's Bill Gates for you. The exercise simulated a series of meetings of the World Health Organization Emergency Health Advisory Board, all right, focusing on a fictional pandemic in the near future. The near future. Participants grappled with how to respond to an epidemic that spreads in one part of the world and then becomes a global pandemic with a higher mortality rate even than COVID-19. I guess COVID-19 didn't work good enough for them. Disproportionately, this pandemic would affect children and adolescents. Man, if you believed, hypothetically speaking, in depopulating the earth, it would probably be a good idea to let the middle-aged and the elderly pass away and take out the youngins, right? I'm just asking a question. Just asking a question. Apparently, SARS-CoV-19 didn't kill enough people. This is amazing to me. These people are relentless, and so are their allies. I'll explain why they are. These guys want to leave a different kind of legacy. You really have to. This is why I don't understand politics without God, or not implementing God into politics. Because who determines what's right and wrong? Who determines what morality is? That isn't to say that you can't behave in a moral way, but who tells you what morality is? Who tells you ultimately, authoritatively, that what you're doing is right or wrong? Who's to say that this guy and alleged murderer in Moscow, Idaho, if he gets to determine what morality is, who's to say that what he did is right or wrong in murdering those 4 college students with a knife, allegedly? Who's to say? This is the problem when you separate God from politics. No, we're not a theocracy in the United States of America, but we abide by Judeo-Christian principles and a Judeo-Christian value system that respects and loves the individual. If we get rid of that, it's no holds barred for people like this. These guys want to leave a different kind of legacy because they don't worship God. They worship themselves. And I'll get onto that subject in just a second with Klaus Schwab. Actually, let's just take a quick side note. Klaus Schwab. All right, so this World Economic Forum, he's a lifetime appointee. He's the head of it. He's the kingmaker, right? He doesn't want to go anywhere. Other people have waited around. He's 85 years old now. He apparently redoes his will 2 to 3 times every year to keep it updated, but he's not going anywhere. And he hasn't named a successor. They don't know who's going to be his successor. There's a lot of names being speculated, but no one knows. No one knows. Because he keeps his mouth shut about it. He intends to run the World Economic Forum until the day that he dies. All right. That's what he intends to do. But that's who he is. People around him said he has a God-like complex. And of course he does. And of course he does. He has a buttload of money, surrounds himself by elites, that people that have a buttload of money. He's isolated. He gets to tell himself how smart he is, how wonderful he is all day long. He doesn't get questioned. He can live like the hypocrite that he is when all of these people, including John Kerry, and I'll have more on John Kerry as well, fly in to Davos to have these meetings on their planes while they tell the rest of us on their private jets, while they tell the rest of us, screw you, screw you. We're trying to save the planet. And if it means that we have to burn a lot of jet fuel in order to do so, so be it. Even though your car can never compare to the damage that we do to the environment, trying to save the environment. These people aren't even worth listening to, but they've got a lot of power. And all of this stuff ties in. Going back to this issue with this planned global pandemic, participants were challenged to make urgent policy decisions with limited information in the face of uncertainty. Each problem and decision had serious health, economic, and social implications. Okay. What did we witness with Fauci? Fauci was he had tunnel vision. All he could think of was killing. All he could think of was the disease, was COVID. He didn't know how to respond to economic issues. He didn't know how to respond to social implications. In fact, on occasion, he said, listen, that's, basically not my job. He's a one-hit type wonder. Well, they're trying to change all of that with this new practice run. Now, another thing that I want you to catch here. Remember, I told you to remember the health ministers and senior public health officials. Remember, I told you to remember those words. Here's why. Let me reread what I just read. Participants were challenged to make urgent policy decisions with limited information in the face of uncertainty. Each problem and decision had serious health, economic, and social implications. Who normally deals with that stuff? A legislative body, unless you're outside of the Western Hemisphere. A legislative body. So essentially, these guys are circumventing the power of the people, and they're saying and they're claiming we should make dictates to the people that they have to abide by. How do you totally upend American independence? Healthcare, energy, education, brainwash people, regulation, using these agencies like the CDC, the NIH, the NIAID. You use these agencies to circumvent the will of the people. That's how you do it. And that's exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that they do or some of the vaccines or whatever they may come up with don't benefit some of society. But I'm telling you, these people have a bigger goal in mind, and that is to be able to rule you. I don't even know that they know how things will work out. Can you imagine having tons of look at Klaus Schwab? He can't go. He doesn't want to go anywhere. People want him to step aside. He's 85 years old. He won't go anywhere. Can you imagine when you have a bunch of global, or if you have a bunch of global elitists running everything? Can you imagine if there is no United States of America? Unfortunately, I fear that one day that will be a truth. So we got some work to do. This is very disastrous to me. Now, these psychopaths were very successful in round one with COVID-19. So don't think they'll do it again. Now, even if COVID-19 was an accidental leak from China, as some believe, and then China just decided to shut up about it, and they wanted to punish the rest of the world because they knew that they were in trouble. And they still wanted to be able to compete on the world stage. So they were like, we screwed up, but you know what? Screw you too. We want to be okay at the end of this. Sick. But I think these guys, these evil people associated with the World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, John Hopkins University, or John Hopkins Center for Health Security, I should say, forgive me, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, I think they look at this and like Rahm Emanuel say, let's never let a serious crisis go to waste. And they decided to pounce on this stuff, get out there, get out their jabs. Same with Pfizer and Moderna and these CEOs. All of these people are in on this stuff. But they were so successful in round one, despite the fact that people have had enough. For the most part, they're like, let's do it again. What else do they have? They have no purpose in life. They don't believe in God, likely most of them. They believe in science. Even when science tells them they're wrong, they create their own science. These people think they're God. How do we combat this? I'll give you a couple of ways in which to combat this. But remember, this is these people's purpose. Their purpose in life, they have no purpose without God. So don't think that they won't do evil. Don't think that they won't, with these simulations, with this practice run, if you will. They believe in depopulating the earth. All right. That's what they believe in. Don't think that they won't do something nefarious, evil, even if it means getting rid of people. And sometimes I can't believe what I'm speaking about, because I'm telling you, a couple of years ago, I would have never spoke like this. But then COVID happened, the lockdowns happened, and you saw all the little wannabe dictators step up to the plate. So one thing that we have to do is not be afraid to talk about this stuff anymore. We're always afraid to be called crazies and stuff like that. You know what? What the left is crazy. The left, they're completely nuts, and we know it. And there's more and more evidence coming out. So you inform yourself by listening to podcasts like this and others, doing some reading, doing some research for yourself. Make sure you do research for yourself. Never completely rely on us. All right. We're learning just like you on a daily basis. So do research for yourself and be willing to take the fight. And I don't mean physically, but metaphorically speaking. I don't care if it's family members or friends. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be arrogant. Perhaps you just ask questions. Well, I learned this. What do you think about this? And let them think through stuff. The problem with the left is they don't have to think about anything. The mainstream media, the Democrat Party, their corporations that they work for now, tell them exactly what they should think and how they should behave. Otherwise, they'll be punished by their peers. So give them the opportunity to think, and maybe the Holy Spirit will work as well, and you'll have brain matter kicking off, and you'll have the Holy Spirit working, and all of a sudden, you have people that might be capable of thinking for themselves yet again. But we have to be willing to have those conversations. And again, it may be in the most simplest of form, but more sheeple are starting to wake up. The sheeple are starting to wake up. I think that the left and all of these institutions overplayed their hand, and more people are starting to wake up. More people are saying, I'm not getting that thing put in my body anymore. They're just not having it. So thank God for that. Sadly, it took lockdowns and a global pandemic to bring about some critical thinking from far too many people. But it's starting to happen. So there is some good news. I do want to share some stats with you on this issue. Here's some facts. There's been a 4,000% increase in bears' miscarriages in stillbirths in the past 2 years. VAERS. You can look it up. You can search this stuff through the CDC. You can search through their own websites, but just look at Bears reports, something like that, VAERS. But also there's the VSafe data. Look up the VSafe data. That's going to be extremely hard to find because they want to hide this stuff. But VSafe data is even more potent, in my opinion, than the Bears data, because the VSafe data goes all the way back to the time where people got their initial inoculation or their initial thing, got stuck, all right, for the first time. 33% adverse effects, significant adverse effects or events. I'm sorry. is what they call them. Go look this stuff up for yourself. On December 12th, there was a press conference by data analyst Tom Lawson in Germany. Lawson presented data from the National Association of Statutory Health Insurance Physicians. They represent 72 million insured in Germany, showing that the number of sudden and unexpected deaths in Germany exploded in 2021. The vaccination campaign started on December 27, 2020. These are just the facts. These are the facts. But there is good news. There is good news. And you know what? Before I get to the good news, I forgot. I like to inform you guys of some of the bigger stories of the day. And I won't take long on this. But before I close out the show with ways that people are winning. Oh, but I did say this. Before I get to that, I did say this. John Kerry says the only way to stop global warming is money, 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 money. What did I tell you about the left? What did I tell you? Healthcare, energy, education, regulation. That's how they'll destroy that's how they'll destroy the United States of America. That's how they'll destroy Western civilization, by getting us to buy into this. John Kerry, the guy who just flew a private jet like all the other fakes in Davos did, a private jet there, 79-year-old John Kerry said it's going to take money, 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 money in order to keep this global warming hoax going. He didn't use those words, but he says the only way of preventing global warming is quote, money, money, money. That's what he said. All right. The billionaire politician who married into the wealthy Heinz family. Pardon me, madam. Can I have some? Does it every time I see him? I just want to do a Grey Poupon commercial. It always looks like he's been stuck with like some type of injection near his mouth and just drools out the side of his mouth. Anyway, weirdest looking guy. But nonetheless, the billionaire politician who married into the Heinz family, he praised on those who attended the meeting in the Swiss ski resort town, Davos, they're speaking of, saying how, quote, extraordinarily that we select human beings are able to sit. Okay, listen to this. I was reading it wrong. We select human beings are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. He says, I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about, quote, saving the planet. If you said that to most people, they think you're just a crazy tree-hugging lefty liberal do-good, but really, that's where we are. So they're saving the planet. He may really believe this. I tend to think he's a complete and utter fraud, but who knows? These people may really believe it. It doesn't matter, though. All that matters is they're wrong, and we got to fight against it. All right, so despite the apparent high estimation from the World Economic Forum attendees, John Kerry said that the only way to prevent the Earth from warming by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius, and this is all done by computer models. They don't have a clue. That's why they can't predict the weather tomorrow. These fools don't have a clue. Will be huge investments, he says, from governments and from the private sector. He said, so how do we get there? Well, the lesson I've learned in the last years, and I learned it as secretary, and I've learned it since, reinforced in spades, is money, 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 money. I'm sorry to say that. I mean, yes, technology. Yes, exciting new initiatives. Yes, organizing, winning races politically, but we have to go further, close quote. He goes on to say, we don't have time, folks. There's the fear factor to be cobbling together bespoke deals here, there and everywhere. We have to do it on a massive basis, he says. And the key to that one is philanthropy. It's not the only key. We need governments to put federal public money into it, meaning public wealth redistribution. That's all he means. He says, we knew that in order to win the war, talking about World War II, we had to organize ourselves to take control of the skies and take control of the seas and be able to smash the battlements. This guy's a nut. I mean, just no purpose. It's what happens when you just live off of your wife and you have no accomplishments of your own. Freaking disgusting human being. Anyway, okay, so let me just share this real quick, and then we'll close out the program with a couple of victories that I want to make mention of. Obviously, still in the news and still big for today are the classified documents that, in my opinion, that were stolen. There are no visitor logs at Biden's personal residence, so there's no telling who came in and out of his personal residence. There's no telling who came in and out of the Penn Biden Center. We're classified, not just not just any, but top secret classified documents were stored. Some of these documents contain information on Ukraine, Iran, the UK, no telling what else. Maybe China, who knows? No telling what else. But these are documents that he stole, in my opinion. All right, he stole them, in my opinion. But factually speaking, they came while he was vice president of the United States. Every single one of this guy's, every place where this guy has lived, I don't know, have stored anything. They should be rated. They should be rated. We need to get down to this. All right. So that's one piece of news. Republicans are pressing to reduce government spending in exchange for raising the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling is set to rise on Thursday. I, for one, am tired of this sky is falling stuff. It's time for Republicans to put the pressure on and not cave. I want to get back to an annual budget. I'm sick and tired of these continued resolutions where the sky is falling. We got to raise the debt ceiling. We're what, 31, 32 trillion. I lost count. 31, 32 trillion dollars in debt. And now we got to raise the debt ceiling again. No, force Washington, D.C. We can do fine without them. If we get to keep more of our money, good for us. So force them to make the cuts necessary and not raise the debt ceiling. But if Republicans can use leverage, which it looks like they may be trying to do, use leverage to cut spending in order to raise the debt ceiling, it's not what I prefer, but at least finally they'll be doing something if they use leverage, if they get some cuts in spending. That's yet to be seen. Another thing, record high 14.3% of American population regularly uses illegal, dangerous drugs. That means that likely 14.3% of the population, and probably more, are going to be exposed to drugs, probably like fentanyl. This is the perfect time, sadly, for the Biden administration to keep our southern borders wide open to help the Mexican cartel kill and the Chinese government kill some American citizens. 14.3% of American population regularly using illegal drugs. They're in danger. All right. Talk to you about the San Francisco proposes the give eligible black residents $5 million. I am temporarily going to be moving to San Francisco. I'll let you I'll let you know. Well, they won't consider me black. Oh man, he's a Republican. He's not really black. That's what they'll say, because the idiots have no other arguments. They can't argue for their policies, so they just they resort to name calling. That's why you just got to worry about Jesus. You can't worry about those fools. All right. More in the news. Heavy California rain forces leaders to reconsider water conservation tactics. Isn't it funny? I just have to respond to this. Isn't it funny that these lefties are forced to face reality to save their environment? And that's what and their policies actually destroy the environment, but real nature forces them to go back on their policies. I jumbled that all up, but I think you guys know what I'm saying, right? It's amazing to me. No, we don't want to collect rain. You get torrential rainfall. Maybe it's time for us to consider collecting rain, because we got so much. Just literally torrential rains that are flooding out communities, flooding out areas of California. They don't save any of this stuff. So now they're thinking of saving some of it in case of droughts and stuff like that, which California is a desert, essentially a good portion of it. So it always or good parts of it is. So it always have drought issues. Okay. Now here's what I really want to get to. I close out the show with. I do want to leave you with some good news. And now it's time. I had a clever name that we should use to talk about good news, Gabe, but I've already forgot it. So hopefully, Lord Jesus, bring it back to me. Okay, so now here's let me give you some good news, because people are starting to fight back. Ron DeSantis has been doing. He's a GOAT. He's the greatest governor of all time. That's what I'm claiming anyway. All right. Others may dispute it. I'll get to what he's doing first, but let me give you a piece of information that, in my opinion, ties directly into the World Economic Forum in Davos. And I saw this on the tip sheet today, and I was like, hallelujah. For years, I've been saying when it comes to EVs, when it comes to electrical vehicles. It is not enough for us to just sit back and let the left make their claims, let the World Economic Forum make their claims. Climate change this, climate change that, all this. When there's no evidence, no scientific data whatsoever to back up their lies, except for a bunch of people that are profiting off of the global warming hoax. That's what it's about. And I'm not saying that some people don't sincerely believe in it. I know a lot of people do. But you're being duped. It's as simple as that. They use these climate models in order to get the results they want. It's fascinating to me. But Wyoming, the state of Wyoming, is fighting back. Hat-Tip Daily Mail. We have to go to the UK for this information, ironically, but nonetheless, Wyoming is set to ban sales of new electrical vehicles by 2035. Hallelujah. We've been hearing of the left doing this to us, banning gas vehicles, banning ICE vehicles. No, Wyoming is fighting back. They're going to ban EVs by 2035 to, quote, ensure the stability, quote unquote, of its oil and gas industry. Oh, it's all about money. Oh, you think climate change isn't? You think these people that fly to Davos on their private jets, billionaires that have become billionaires as a result of investing in green energy companies and so on, etc., that have invested in jabs, etc., you don't think it's about money to them? You think these people are really moral people? These people that are pro-abortion? They're really moral people. These people that are willing to depopulate the earth, that don't give a damn about the individual, they're really moral people, right? It's not about money for them. It just happens that they're all filthy rich. But it's not about money for them. Give me a freaking break. Grow a brain cell. So Wyoming is set to become the first state to phase out EVs. I love it. It's time to fight back against these narratives. These EVs, all you have to do 5 to 10 minutes of research. It is a complete lie that these things are better for the environment. It is simply not true. Wyoming is fighting back. The move announced on Friday aims to preserve the state's oil and gas industry. And they should. Again, these EVs do more damage to the environment than ICE vehicles do in their production phase. Not only with the minerals that they have to dig up, but there's also child labor involved in that as well. And that's a moral argument that can be had. Some people don't think it's as bad. Some people do. All right. Regardless, this is what they're doing. If you say you're not for slave labor, child labor, okay, then you don't want EVs. They're digging up minerals, destroying. Go look at mining for lithium batteries. If Google isn't hiding it from you currently, look at the destruction that's done for one EV battery. Look at these massive, they call them earth movers, these bulldozers that are so freaking big. It's unbelievable. They drink gasoline, diesel fuel like you drink water. Actually, they drink it way more. I mean, these things go like I don't listen. I don't have the information directly in front of me, but I want to say they may drink a gallon of diesel fuel per like 100 or a couple hundred feet. I mean, it's insane. It's something that's really insane. These are the vehicles that are being used to help mine, along with child labor, scraping through with tools for these products to hook up EVs. It's a hoax. Electricity. You know, the only way to get electricity is from coal-fired plants. That's why China is like, screw all you guys. We're going to keep building. It's a hoax. You bought into a hoax. If you like your EV, I'm glad. But if you like your EV and you're virtue signaling because you believe it's saving the planet, you're wrong. You've been duped. I'm sorry. That's the truth. Wyoming has had enough. The bill notes that Wyoming lacks a charging station infrastructure and is worried of the waste caused by used electric vehicle batteries that cannot be recycled. We don't even know where to place these batteries. Thank God. This is what we needed. Finally, someone fighting back, for God's sakes. Today, approximately 100 companies, they say, the legislation was introduced on Friday, comes from a group of lawmakers that were led by Senator Jim Anderson. In 2021, Wyoming was placed as the 8th top oil producer in the U.S., producing 85.43 million barrels. All right. So today, approximately 100 companies are operating 30,000 miles of pipeline in Wyoming, and that doesn't include all the gathering systems of all inactive or abandoned pipelines. Because remember, not all pipelines are actually fiscally beneficial. All right. And there are more than 68,000 jobs in the state's oil and gas industry. All right. The bill praises gas-powered vehicles as enabling the state's industries and businesses to ship goods and resources across the U.S. Yeah, we need that. EVs don't have the ability to be able to just run and run and run like gas-powered vehicles do. Besides the fact that they're destroying the environment. This should be simple. Lawmakers also note that the U.S. has consistently invested in the oil and gas industry, to sustain gas-powered vehicles, and that investment has resulted in the continued employment of thousands of people in the oil and gas industry in Wyoming and throughout the country. On the other hand, they say the shift to electric vehicles will have deleterious, dangerous impacts on Wyoming's communities and will be detrimental to Wyoming's economy and the ability for the country to efficiently engage in commerce. And they're absolutely right. They even say here, one might even say tongue-in-cheek, but obviously it's a very serious issue that deserves some public discussion. I don't know what he's referring to. But anyway, but they also bash the EVs. And they say there's a problem. There's a problem with these batteries. Finally, someone talking about it and going on the offense. Somebody leading. And that's what we need. We can't just have people. It's no longer enough for Republicans to say, I'm against that. Okay, what the hell are you for and why? What are you for and why? Explain it to people. And I feel like, to be frank, the only reason Republicans don't is because they're in on it. They're getting wealthy in Washington, D.C., and they don't want to screw up their gravy train. You know why? Because people are about self-preservation first and foremost. They think about themselves, like it or not. They do. So these people go to Washington, D.C., all of a sudden, everybody's kissing their behind. They get free haircuts. They get nice meals. You know, everyone tells them how smart they are. And then they find out a way to get rich. Oh, my God, we're dealing with this bill. We're sending money here. Hey, honey, can we start investing here? You know what I'm saying? And then they end up rich. And they don't want to give that up. Wyoming is fighting back. We're seeing more stories of fighting back. Last story, and we'll close this out here. Ron DeSantis. It's becoming a common name when we're speaking of fighting back. Speaking of fighting back, you guys may have heard the news. One thing that he did, and then I'll share another real quick. All right, so Disney World is losing their ability. The state isn't going to. They don't have sovereignty anymore. Disney doesn't. They basically ran Disney like it was their own state, their own county, their own city, whatever you want to. It was. They ran everything. They controlled everything, and they happened to be in Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis. Brought a halt to that because they were for abusing children. They were pro child abuse. All right, when it came to the chappadogophamies and all that kind of stuff, they were pro child abuse. Ron DeSantis said we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna help out the perverts at Disney. We're not gonna stand for that. We're not gonna have we're not gonna allow these people to continue. Taxpayer money going to all this kind of good stuff. Just not going to happen. All right. And so now you guys, you guys are free to, now you guys have to be sanctioned and governed and treated like all the rest of the amusement parks do. Universal doesn't have the perks that they do. None of these parks, none of the parks around here, Legoland, none of the parks around here have the same benefits and tax benefits that Disney has. That's all about to change. That's all about to change. Disney wanted to Disney wanted to try to fight back against Ron DeSantis for the sake of a very small percentage of the population, and they got their teeth kicked in. So Ron DeSantis was going to turn over the ability or the responsibility of overseeing Disney to Orange County. Orange County happens to be where I live. It is a left-wing haven in Orange County. There's some good people, good neighbors, blah, blah, blah. But it's run by a lefty and Mayor Demings, all right? He's the husband of former Congresswoman Val Demings that, thank God, got her butt kicked in the Senate race by Marco Rubio. Just big-time lefties, all right? Big-time lefties. The city of Orlando looks like a trash heap now, in my opinion, under their leadership. You know, they wanted to gentrify parts of Orlando. They did do that. The problem is they're treating homelessness and all this kind of stuff like it doesn't exist. So the homeless population has been skyrocketing. I go to downtown Orlando now and drive through downtown Orlando. It looks worse than it did 10, 15, even 20 years ago when people were complaining about the prostitution and homelessness then. It's at least twice as bad, at least. And maybe even 3 times as bad. Honestly, it's sickening. So Ron DeSantis says, no, instead of turning over this responsibility to the local government, because what Comrade Demings said that he would do is he would tax Orange County to have to take care and oversee Disney, tax the people of Orange County. And Ron DeSantis is like, tax the people of Orange County. Are you aware of how much money Disney makes? They can handle their own stuff. They can pay for it. All of the things that they need, all of the services they need, from the city, they can pay for themselves. They can pay for themselves. Mayor Demings didn't want to do that, so Ron DeSantis came out, boom, all right, we'll get a state board to do it. You're no longer overseeing that, Mayor Demings, screw you, because you're a commie, all right? You're not going to punish the people. You're not going to punish the people because Disney, this multi-billion-dollar corporation, because they don't want to cough up to pay for all of their own services, even though they run everything. No, you're not going to tax your citizens for that. Disney needs to pay the price. So he says, we'll just bring it back to the state board. Now, normally, the normal thing to do for conservatives, more power to the local level. But when you have a comrade in charge in Orange County, I think Governor DeSantis made the right decision. And this feels uncomfortable for conservatives, but these are the type of fights that we're going to have to fight. Another quick thing he did. I didn't intend to go this far, but I think this is very, very, very important news because I think it gives us some hope in fighting back. I got to find it. Let me see here. Oops, wrong thing. Clicked on the wrong thing here. Hopefully, let's see. I think this is it. Oh, no. Here it is. All right. Okay, so here's what else Governor Ron DeSantis has done. And again, I want to give you some good news because, yes, the left is coming at us with a vengeance. And it gets overwhelming sometimes. So sometimes it helps me, and I'm sure it'll help you too, to just read stories like this and know that we do have some fighters out there. So here's some things that Governor Ron DeSantis has put in place to stop this onslaught of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs on college campuses. Carl, what does this have to do with the World Economic Forum? This is all tied in, guys. Remember, here's an acronym you can use. All right, I won't charge you for it. HIRE. All right, healthcare, HIREE. Healthcare, immigration, regulation, energy, education. Any one of these 5 would totally upend Western civilization if chaos ensues. If we destroy our healthcare system, Obamacare, if we destroy our legalized immigration system, open borders, if the regulatory agencies are able to circumvent the will of the people, CDC, NIH, NIAID, EPA, DOJ. You see what I'm saying? When you're able to distance yourselves from the voice of the people, the bureaucracy, the elites gain more power. Energy. Look, we're beholden to China. We were beholden to Russia. We claim they're our enemies. No, drill, baby, drill right here in the United States. Education, right? If you create and educate a bunch of woke morons, and I'm speaking broadly when I say the term woke, all encompassing, it's fascism. Basically, it's fascism. It's public private partnerships with a bunch of people that have bought into CRT and DEI, and they intend to use their power to impose their values on the rest of us. Using the power of government and big corporations to impose their values on the rest of us. That's what they're doing. It's fascism. But Ron DeSantis has had enough. You know, even the move that he made with Disney, when he took the power away from Orange County, or decided not to give the power to Orange County and decided to create a state board to oversee what Disney is doing as well. It just makes total sense, because we can't let commies run parts of our states. And that's what Governor DeSantis decided. But he's doing the same thing with education on college campuses. Now, here's what it says here. The average American university has more than 45 individuals with jobs. Heritage Foundation devoted to promoting so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI programs push divisive identity politics as well as distorted narratives about American history. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' administration is once again leading on the issue, taking a first step in clamping down on these counterproductive positions and administrative bloat. I'm just trying to see where I need to read. Each institution must provide by this Friday. Oh, okay, here it is. In order to provide taxpayers and parents with transparency around what tax dollars are funding within the halls of these state colleges and universities in Florida, the governor's office sent a letter to the State Department of Education this week requesting that agency, along with public universities, provide information on initiatives and expenditures that are associated with DEI programs and critical race theory. He wants to know who's being hired, how much are they spending. Each institution must provide, listen to this Friday, he's not messing around, by Friday, a brief description of the program, the activity, the number of full and full-time equivalent employees involved, the total funding to support the initiative, and the amount of state funding spent. This is a welcome survey. The column says Florida State University has at least 31 personnel dedicated to DEI, institutionalized racism, in my opinion. The University of Florida has at least 29 dedicated to DEI, or institutionalizing racism, I should say, which is likely one of the tip of the DEI icebergs. All right. Some schools have way more. I think Michigan has upwards of 196, almost 200 people on their campus devoted to institutionalizing racism across the country with their graduates. Don't go to the University of Michigan. Don't send them, if that's your alma mater, don't send them a dime. Do not send them a dime. I love Jim Harbaugh and watching the football program. Beyond that, don't send these fools a dime. All right, DeSantis' most recent moves follows other important measures his administration has taken to rein in the left's capture of the academic institutions. The Stop Woke Act, number one. This law prohibits public school districts and colleges from hiring critical race theory consultants and codifies Florida's prohibition on the application of critical race theory in K-12 schools. I can go on, but for the sake of time, I won't. The Parental Rights in Education Act. All right. This law stipulates that classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3. All right. Senate Bill 744. This law requires universities to periodically change accrediting agencies in an effort to reduce the inordinate amount of power held by accrediting bodies. Requiring periodic changes in accrediting agencies may also mean colleges aren't pressured to increase DEI initiatives in order to remain in good standing with the accreditation cartel, they say. alternative pathways into the classroom. In August, DeSantis announced changes to the Florida Administrative Code that provide a pathway for veterans and returning service members to obtain temporary teaching licenses, downplaying or ending certification requirements to teach, including the requirement that teachers possess a teaching degree with no consideration for real-world experience as a substitute qualification. Praise God. He's doing what he can here in Florida. Guys, listen, this has been a long one, but there was a lot of information to get out to you. But I wanted to end with some good news for you as well. I appreciate you tuning in. Please be sure to support my sponsors, MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Carl, 1-800-858-0263 to take advantage of deals up to 66% off, or just go to the radio listener special or go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener special, enter my name, Carl, for Patriots.com. Guys, you never know when a crisis is going to occur. You want to be prepared. The number 4, Patriots.com. Use the promo code Carl, and you'll get a discount up to 10% off for your first purchase, including this 3-month survival kit. You'll get a year-long guarantee plus free shipping on orders over $97. I'm sorry. Anyway, so check them out for Patriots.com, also MyPillow.com. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.